The Hidizs Mp 143, the Salt. Let's talk about it. Now this IM was sent out to me by Hidizs. I've had this in the home about 2 to 3 weeks, and I wanted to appreciate them for the opportunity to review this product free of charge. This is something I do get to keep, and I did want to be as transparent as humanly possible with this review, just so you guys know my true thoughts and feelings on this IM. Let's go ahead and start by talking about the build quality of this IM, and then we'll kind of go from there. There are 3 IEMs on this table. On the right, the Awful Magic one. In the middle is the Hidizs Mp 143, and on the left is the Let's Shouter S08. Now, I just wanted to kind of show you the build and comfort of this IEM. It is very interesting and somewhat peculiar. It does have 3 nozzle sizes that do affect the sound quality on this. We will talk about that in the graph section more. It is a weirdly shaped IEM, but is not uncomfortable. It's kind of flat. It sits in ear at a different kind of an angle, and this nozzle does come off if you want to take it off. This comes with a nice selection of ear tips and different nozzles that you can take a look at as well. It has a nice cable, but it's kind of bland. It's not maybe the most exciting or best feeling cable. It's kind of thin. It's like a 2-wire. It's not very thick, which is kind of interesting. But overall, not a bad cable by any means. The box is small. The unpackaging experience is not too exciting, but it's not bad. How would I describe the sound? Well, it's interesting because there's 3 different sonic profiles on this based on what tuning nozzle you have. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the graph section. It's an overall solid IEM that I think it's well worth the price, but let's get in and talk to you about the sound. All right, here's the graph of the gold nozzles. It is a nice looking graph. It does have a few minor issues with it, but overall, it's a good curve and they're good drivers of what's going on. I'm going to show you another person's graph. This is Camify, also another YouTuber who has these graphed on squig.link. And I wanted you to notice the different couplers. I marked mine as gold. He marked it as rose gold. But there's a silver nozzle, which is basically the same bass shelf, but a lot more treble. And then we have the red, which is a lot more even and less treble region. So it's like that early like 1K to 3K kind of region. Is depends on what you like. I personally found the rose gold to be my favorite of all the likes. Again, the sound, if I had to describe it, bassy, rich, adequate, good, not amazing or super special, but it has a nice, wonderful sonic sound to it. I wanted to show you a few other IEMs from Hidizs. First one I want to show you is the MS3. Now I'm going to be comparing all of them versus the gold or the rose gold on Camify's, depending on how you want to look at it. And we look at this here, and you'll notice I like the Mp 143 much more than the Hidizs MS3. I thought the MS3 was a little bit of a dumpster fire. It was not for me. I don't like it when IEMs have a lot of energy from 4 to 6K, and you'll notice this one has a huge 4K spike. And it just kind of wasn't for me. Let's normalize this at, say, 500. And you can kind of see how much more energy the MS3 has. It came across to me as exceedingly bright. But the Mp 143 just comes across as nice. Just enough detail. It doesn't feel like it tries to shout in your face or scream at you. It's really pleasant. Another one I want to look at is the Hidizs Mp 145. Now, I like the Mp 145. My problem with the Mp 145 is the fit. But the fit on the Mp 143 for me and for my ear canal is better, and that is part of the design philosophy. You notice these are pretty similar. The only real difference is that the Mp 143 is a little bit more flat through this mid treble region right here. I do prefer a dip, and I do prefer the Hidizs Mp 145 as far as like raw sonic quality, but as far as price and comfort goes, the Hidizs Mp 143 is superior in that regard. So they do trade blows. You can notice how close these really are on the curve. Another one I want to compare this to. This is the Let's Shouter S08. My personal take is the S08 is a little bit more neutral, a little bit more plain. I like it. I think they kind of trade blows. I think the S08 kind of lacks that special sauce. I'm a little bit of a bass head, and so I do like the bass of the Hidizs Mp143. And what I mean by that is when the bass isn't right, almost nothing else matters for me, and that's kind of how I feel about these two IEMs, that they do trade blows. Personally, I think I prefer the Hidizs Mp143, but the Schmeilcarl S08 does have a very nice cable, a very nice package. It's one of those things you kind of have to experience both. But if you're worried about the fit, I think the S08 might have a little bit better fit. You can check that out in my fit section here. Other ones to compare. I mean, the truth there, Hexa is right around this price. You can even find it around for 60. It doesn't have that bass or dynamics, but it has nice upper mids, a little bit more of a recessed dip. Kind of depends on what you're looking for. This is a little bit more of that meta tuning that people are going after, but this is something to consider. I think the technicalities of the MP143 are a little bit better. You hear a little bit more detail, sparkle, and air, but they trade blows. But personally, I do prefer the MP143, but it's not a huge margin. It's one of those things that I can see people preferring one versus the other and not seeing a need for one or the other. So it's kind of difficult to explain. Another one to look at is the Keyfind Delchi. Now, the Delchi did come out with the AE, and I have not reviewed that yet. I might, depending on things, but I don't know. I probably won't. I think these two kind of trade blows. The Delchi has a really nice, rich sub bass, kind of organic, dynamic driver tuning. But the Hidizs MP143, I think it has that better technicality and air. I think its presence and mid-treble region are a little bit better. And I think they do trade blows depending on what you want. Personally, I like the Hidizs Mp143. I feel like music just sounds a little bit better. It doesn't seem as colored. It feels just a little bit more natural and a little bit more tame. And it's a kind of a nice presentation overall. Another one to look at this price point is the SIMGOT EA500LM. I like the SIMGOT EA500LM. It's a little bit Harman, meaning it's a little bit bright. There's a little bit more vocal, kind of shouty region from here. And I guess it depends on what you want. They both have pretty good bass shelves. They both sound really good in ear. They both are metallic shells. You really got to know what you're looking for from a comfort standpoint, as like oftentimes a lot of these IEMs, they have a similar tuning, and you kind of got to know what you want. Personally, I like the Hidizs Mp143. I think that might be the safer battle, but it's not as exciting or engaging as the LM. Kind of depends. Another one to look at. This is one that I actually would recommend above the Hidizs Mp143, but it's more expensive. I really like the Awful Explorer. The fit's really good. You'll notice their bass shelves are very similar. The Hidizs Mp143 has a little bit more vocal presence region around that 2K, but it also has way more energy from 4 to 6K. So if you're like me and you want really good upper air extension, the Awful Explorer does that very, very well, and it lacks that 4 to 6K energy that just makes me want to toss IEMs. It just kind of upsets me and it's like an IEM that I wouldn't naturally reach for, and that's something to note if you are sensitive like I am to that region. Another thing to look at, if you're looking at something cheaper, the CCA Trio will give you a lot of that good sonic quality for a little bit less in price. But I think maybe the drivers, the MP143 are better, but the comfort of the CCA Trio might be better. I just wanted to give you guys options. That I think the Trio is a very nice IEM, but again, it's KZ. If that bothers you from an ethical standpoint, I mean, you know, just pay more and get something else. Another thing to look at, the Hidizs, not the Hidizs, but the SIMGOT EW200. You'll notice this does have a lot more upper presence region. It does have kind of a dip here. A lot of people are going to like the EW200. It's a really solid set. It's about half the price. Do I think it's better? It's a lot smaller. It's small to the point that it bothers me. So it may not be something that you want to get. But a lot of these IEMs, they're very, very close. You know, I just wanted to give you a few comparisons and a few options if you want. Just notice how similar those bass shelves are and how close those things are right now. One thing I would recommend is to EQ this IEM. EQ is the best personalization. I don't always talk about it, but I do find this IEM is better. Just hitting a few buttons here, you can EQ this and your bass shelf gets a little bit better, a little bit more clean. Your vocals become a little bit more pristine, and you lose a little bit more energy in that 4 to 6K. It becomes a little bit easier to listen to. And I think EQ is a powerful tool. Would I recommend this IEM without EQ? Not necessarily. I think it kind of needs EQ, but it's a really cool theme. It's a really cool shell. It's a really cool idea. Like the salt is named after a whale, and I think that's super cool. And I think that it is a solid IEM that's well worth its price, but I do wish for a little bit refinement for it to be exactly what I would want from an IEM. You know, the Hidizs Mp 143, if you can get it on sale right now, I think it's well worth. It's a 3-star value IEM. I like it. I think it's a good set. It's not perfect. It has nice bass, good upper mids. Its highs are kind of okay. I mean, it's overall across the board fairly technical, and it has a good overall sound. It doesn't bother me. It's a good set. It's just maybe not exactly what I, being a persnippety audiophile, would fully recommend or fully enjoy. But it's a great set. But again, if it's one of those sets, if you have the Hidizs Mp 143, maybe you can skip it. If you skip the Mp 143 because of size, this might be a good one to go. You know, if you already have the Let's Shure S08, it's also probably something that you can skip. But I do think the Hidizs Mp 143 has a really cool theme. They're trying to do something to actually help the whales. They got a little bit of criticism. I love it when companies take criticism and they do something positive with what they're doing. And I think this is a win. I think this is a solid set. I think this is something that you can get and you can enjoy, and it's not a bad set overall. It's really, I'm really impressed with it, and I've really enjoyed my testing of it, and I'm super impressed they are able to come in at the early bird special of $79. You know, when I first got in the hobby, Hidizs put out a letter saying, hey, anyone interested in reviewing our products, let us know. And I put my name in, and I didn't get accepted. I think I'd done one Head-Fi review at the time, and that's it. So to finally be able to get to the point for the channel where I am able to get Hidizs products is a really awesome thing. I'm really super happy that Hidizs was cool about sending this out. They have not influenced what I say or do on this review, and they've been a joy to work with, and they haven't really had any problems. It's just been a really nice experience. I reviewed one of their amp decks just a few months ago, I guess, and working with them has been a treasure. I have had no problems or no drama with it. I think this is a strong, clean product. I think this is something that, you know, in that $80 to $100 range, I think it's something to be considered. I think there's a lot of good IEMs coming out. You have to know what you really want, what areas you're sensitive to, whether you think you might need EQ for something or not. But overall, how does this sound in ear? Just fantastic, just clean, just clear. Vocals are clean and crisp. Nothing comes across shouty or piercing. A lot of the planers like the NiceHack F1 Pro, all the Let's Shure, the older IEMs, I'm not a huge fan of them. They have a ton of that extra energy, and it's just not for me. If you guys like my video, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?